Nice.
Yeah.
And we are
I'm glad
now
the YouTube is
we're
working
recording
out so
live.
far.
Go live now. We're going to go live on Facebook here as well. So
All right.
it
Good to
is
go.
all yours.
All right. Well, I'd like to welcome everyone to this Chill with Jim session. I am your host. My name is Jim McCarthy, and I am the client advocate for Strix, Louisiana. It's my job to make sure that our clients are set up with the best equipment, software, and IT solutions to make sure that their business is running at optimal efficiency. We also have David DeArmond, who is the owner of Strix, Louisiana, with us, and
Hi
his
there.
wife, there's David, and his wife, Candace DeArmond, who is our outreach coordinator. She's in charge of all of our community outreach.
Hello, everybody.
So at Strix, we believe there's always a better, simpler way. What that means for us is we're constantly searching and adapting our processes to make sure that we have the most efficient, best solution in place. And part of this responsibility we feel is to make sure that we're educating our clients and others on the resources that they have available, go over current IT events, security risks that are happening in the IT world today. And actually today, you know, it's kind of a hot topic. We're going to go over working from home. We've actually heard quite a bit of back and forth from people where a lot of the stay-at-home employees that are working from home, they're saying like, how do I convince my boss to make it so I can always work from home? Funny, on the other side of things, we've heard also where, you know, business owners are like, wow, this is working really great. How do I talk my employees into staying at home and working from home? So we thought this would be a great topic. I've got a list of a few things, you know, some advantages, some disadvantages of working from home for both the employee and the business owner that I'd like to go over. It's not too long of a list, so I'm just going to read through some of this. Some advantages for a employee or a worker for staying at home. First and foremost is the ability to wear the most comfortable clothes that you have in your wardrobe. You know, and I didn't say it at the beginning, but with the Chill with Jim session, it's always business up top and pajamas on the bottom. So, you know, this is a great point. I do enjoy working in my pajama bottoms for most of the day. Another one would be a flexible schedule. So when you're working from the house, you get to take what I've come to create, maybe this term, I don't know if it's out there yet, but you get to take micro breaks. Maybe this is just a 5-minute break to 10-minute break to walk outside, get some fresh air, maybe play with your dog while he's sitting next to you. Take these little breaks that kind of like build up your energy, just kind of make you feel good. You get to eat lunch at whatever weird time you want, which is a great thing as well. Another thing you can do is you can customize your environment to how you like it. This means you can play your music and your sound at whatever level you want.
And sing at whatever level.
And sing at whatever level you want. That's a great point. Because there has been times where I start singing and don't notice, and David is in the background, and then I'm like realizing, oh, I'm singing to David. I also know he's done that to me a few times too. So
Little concerts.
Yeah, little office concerts. You can run that smelly air diffuser that you love so much. Or you put up that provocative picture that totally motivates you, but it is way too risque for the office. You can design your environment however you want. You get rid of office distractions. Coworkers debating over which season of Game of Thrones is the best and why. Susan's daily cat stories. or the "my child did the funniest thing today" conversation. You get to get rid of all these distractions. Maybe the AC runs so strong to the point that your hands are becoming numb. When you're working from the house, you don't even have to worry about these things. It's pretty easy to take work phone calls without having to go and find an empty conference room. You get to save money on gas and lunch expenses. Um, you get more time with loved ones. Maybe you're just around the corner, so you can help take care of your sick significant other. Um, you're ready for your kids earlier in the day, ready to see them, get to see them earlier. Get some extra snuggles with your puppy dog, or simply just have some quiet time to yourself. Um, some of the disadvantages may include willpower. Wow, you really got to get jamming on this new project that's out there. But Netflix says you have 4 episodes of Tiger King left. Uh, the lack of routine. Lack of routine is one that I've noticed with me. Just a change in routine. It kind of it takes a little bit longer maybe to get mentally prepared for the day. You kind of get out of sorts with your environment or your daily to-dos because you're always used to doing certain things in a certain way. Now you have a much more relaxed routine. Boredom or loneliness. You know what? I kind of miss Susan's cat stories. And I'm wondering what shenanigans little Timmy has been getting into today. Or maybe what season of Game of Thrones is the best. I wish I could hear some of Jeff's opinions on this one. Working slowly. Sometimes, working to the office, just the act of getting in the car, driving to work gives you that boost in energy, a little jolt in productivity. Um, this is a huge one, especially for our clients that we've noticed. Not having the best technology to work from at the house. So, when you're at work, you have really nice computer system, you have high-speed internet. You go home, you're working from your personal laptop maybe. Uh, you're working off of your house internet, which might not be as fast, or you might have the kids watching Netflix in the other room. So this has been one we've seen to cause a big issue. And then another one might be just waiting on an answer. You need a super quick question. You have a super quick question. You might put it in your chat or your email, and no one's responding. Typically if you're at the office, oh hey David, I got a quick question. What was your favorite episode of Game of Thrones or something like that? You can just ask them real quick. These are some of the things you really want to consider when you're debating on working from the house, working from the office. When you have this choice, where do I stay focused the longest? Um, how long does it take me to get back on track when I am distracted, either at the office or at home? And how do you best communicate? Some people thrive in social interaction, feel inspired by others working around them. It just helps them to stay on track best when they're at the office. And we want to also look at it from the employer's point of view for the business owner, people in management. What are some of these benefits of having my team, a mobile workforce, a at-home workforce? The big one is going to be less overhead. Save on office space, equipment, and furniture. In some instances, you may even be able to request that people use their own, cell phones or home computers to complete their work. You'll save on power, energy bills, office supplies. You don't have to stock up the break room with the coffee and the snacks that you usually would. So this is going to be a big one for employers. Reduce turnover. So allowing employees to work from the house, work with a much more flexible schedule can actually increase job satisfaction, which in turn reduces the turnover rate. You create, employee loyalty with this new job satisfaction that they have. This may mean, you know, you get to spend less time on advertising for these open positions, screening, interviewing, hiring, and training. If you're able to keep your employees longer, this is a major benefit. And increased productivity. You know, there's a lot of studies out there that show that employees actually are working better and more efficiently from the house. You know, when they face fewer interruptions, they can really dig in and focus on their work. Higher individual morale. Employees with flexible work options have a higher morale. They tend to enjoy their work responsibilities more. Um, and the increase in morale will turn around to increased productivity. Communications have been great. So this forces us all to use digital means of conversation. What that means is there's always going to be a paper trail, a digital paper trail of what conversation happened, when it happened, how it happened. So you can always go back and look, oh, what was that thing that Candace told me? Go back, look in your conversation. Oh, that's right. You know, she wanted A, B, or C. And then, you know, you get rid of some of these office politics. You know, there still will be some digital warfare that happens from time to time. Uh, Passive aggressiveness is actually very easy to accomplish when you're not face to face. Isn't that right, David?
I
See what I
mean,
did there?
you
I
know,
just did a passive aggressive attack, you know, real slight, but it's much more easy when I have a couple miles in between us and only this camera because, you know, normally if I do that at the office, I'm suspect to one of his backhands or something like that. So,
no employer violence. No.
yes, yeah, you get to
Violence in the
eliminate.
workplace is not, it's not good.
It's not condoned under the Strix laws.
No, in the
Some,
policy handbook.
you know, that one that I read so detailed. Just a couple cons real quick. Reduced team morale overall. As a team, you know, humans are a tribal species. So when you lack face-to-face communication, interaction, this can affect a team as a whole. You know, spreading motivation and high energy to your employees can be difficult when you're using digital means. You just imagine Coach O having a pregame talk to all his players, and they're all on their cell phones and video chats getting this pregame talk. Might not be as effective as an in-person Coach O motivational pregame talk. Um, and then cybersecurity. Most employees, they're not going to have the necessary equipment or software that's needed to keep all of their digital resources safe and secure. And again, this has been a big one for us that we've noticed. People are much more careless with their equipment when they own it. They're going to click on things that they wouldn't click on from their work computer. They're going to go to websites that they wouldn't visit if they're at work. So these are some of the things that I wanted just to go over. And let's see, I might have done it in about 10 minutes. I know I'm trying to keep these to 10 minutes. That one might have gone a little long, but those are some of the talking points we can review today.
I was actually talking to an account rep with Jump Cloud today, and they handle single sign-on, not really pertinent too much to what we're talking about right now, but they're all staying at home now. And so they actually just completed a headquarters in January. They were there for 2 months, and then everybody had to go home. So I was quizzing Mike there at Jump Cloud about what's it been like, what's the productivity been like, and the things that you mentioned are the things that came up. Number one, the productivity seems to be up. He said the rate at which updates are coming out on their product is higher than it's ever been. So apparently the developers are absolutely loving it. I guess they're not distracted by things going on in the office, but they're knocking out updates even quicker. Now, what was, I guess, one of the negatives that I found with him is that his home internet connection wasn't very good, or he was on Google Hangouts. That's the first time I've used Google Hangouts with someone, and the connection wasn't very good. So he was dropping out. And as a salesperson talking to a potential buyer, that's definitely not what you want, because there are things that I missed that he was saying that made the conversation difficult, and you don't want that as a salesperson selling to someone. So
Yeah.
those things that you mentioned are exactly what came up with Jump Cloud there.
Yeah. And
Carlene,
so,
how long have you been working from home, Carlene? Oh, she's muted there. Oh,
Sorry, I was trying to get unmuted. I couldn't get to it. I have been when I started with Dugan's in 2003, I had a full-time job at the time. And then at the end of 2012, they closed our office. So then I had been building my travel business since 2003. Plus, I was doing work with Jennifer. So I have been working from home since like January of 2013.
Yeah. What was that transition like for you?
Well, I had just had my daughter in the end of 2012, so it was weird. It took a long time to like get it in my head. Oh, I'm not going back to my daytime job, and I'm just doing the stuff for Jennifer, and I'm just doing the travel. But it was nice because I had the two boys, my twins, and then I had her. So it was nice to be able to be home with them, but at the same time it was a little difficult trying to focus on getting my stuff done, as well as having a brand new baby and two 4-year-olds running around. So I mean it definitely was a challenge. But it was also better to not have to leave my kids in the morning. And that was always really, really hard. Especially, my boys, I would try, and I always had a sitter come to the house, and I would always try and leave before they woke up, because if they woke up, they would start crying that I was leaving. Right. So that was always really hard, having to leave for work. So I mean, it was a really good job that, they had closed. So that was hard, but it was also, I think, everything happens for a reason. And it was one of those, it happened for the right reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. How's the team like? So the rest of your team, I mean, they might have been working from the house already, but and how's the communication with you guys?
Really good. We use Microsoft Teams, and I mean, it works fantastic for us. I'll message something to Jennifer, and I mean, depending on time zones, that's the difference. They're on different time zones as me.
Yeah.
But overall, we see messages, fairly quick, which is nice. I think it's better than email. And we can get back to each other pretty quick if we've got questions. I have Teams on my phone, so it pops up, and if it's something I need to handle right away, I can just boom, 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 answer on my phone, and it works well.
Well, and that's another advantage, as a business owner that I think about. If you were capable of working from home, you can hire someone from anywhere. And so, in our business, we do a lot of remote support anyway. 80% of what we do is remote. So we have the entire nation open to us for hiring. We can hire from anywhere, because we're capable of working remotely.
Even Spain?
I mean, we could do it.
Just curious.
And it's recorded, so later when he asks, he has it on recording.
That's right.
I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. Just curious.
Yeah. Candace,
Yeah.
you went through the same transition when Ashlyn was born, from being in an office for years and years to working at home only. Now, it was a change in jobs, but It, what would be your input on it?
I think like Carlene said, seeing the kids first thing in the morning, all of that is a huge change. And you remember, David, back when our oldest was small, we used to have to go to daycare at like 5:36 in the afternoon because we both worked about 30 minutes away from home, and we'd have to pick her up from daycare, and she was usually the last kid, and she was just sitting there with her little backpack and lunchbox, looked pitiful and sad, and it broke our hearts. But you have to have the same income, and you have to have a great job to be able to work from home. It's not the most easy to come by, which is where the pandemic and owners making that shift is really going to open it up a lot for people. Everyone is seeing now how great it is, and the productivity for sure. It's so much better for me to wake up at 5 a.m., go sit on the couch in my PJs and knock out like 3 or 4 hours of work before the kids get up than to wake myself up and drive the 30 minutes. And like you said, all the Susie and her stories or this and that. I mean, that's awesome. I used to love my work setting and the ladies I worked with. I miss them huge. But the family and the kids and all of that, the swap off, like you can't deny, is so worth it.
Yeah, that was something you mentioned, Jim, about you mentioned it as a potential negative of you kind of have your routine. You get up, you get in your car, you go to work, and now you're in your routine. And for me, it's almost easier working from home because I get up, I don't have to get in the car. I can go upstairs, I can get right to work, and that gives me another 25 minutes of getting ahead of everyone else. That's my goal of getting to work a little bit early, and that kind of allows me to get to work a little bit earlier without having to wake up any earlier. And so I almost look at that as a positive from my perspective. So
Yeah.
that kind of depends on your personality and what suits you. And I think that's why an office that is flexible, where if you can create an environment where you can come into the office or you can stay home, either way, and that's absolutely possible today.
I remember
Yeah.
back at my old office, all of the ladies wanted to work with a window. And that was something that we didn't have. Not everyone had windows. And we were trying to talk our IT guy, which was David at that time, into setting us up so that we could go work under the trees because it had beautiful landscaping, beautiful buildings, swings. And we're just like, let us work outside. We'll be more happy. We will work better for you.
There's one of the drawbacks of working at
Yeah.
home.
Yep. Yep. The intrusions, they
Yeah.
happen. But yeah, that's a good point on the routine. I mean, it does definitely depend on you know, I think initially the change in routine is hard to get used to and to
Yeah.
create a new one. But then also for some of us, having the extra amount of time um, allows us to kind of sway from the routines that we want to keep in place because we're not have to be as deadlined as like, oh, I wake up at this time to get here at this time. And,
Yeah.
now I talked to a friend who's like, I'll tell you what, the first thing to go out the window with this was all of my routines that I had in place. Now he said, I'm waking up, got to be to work at 8. I'm waking up at 7:45. Zombie into the living room, and I'm at work.
Yeah.
So he said that was the first thing for him to go was any type of routine he had in place. They went out the door.
Yeah, I've heard and read that that's an important aspect of it is trying to keep your existing routine as much as possible, because you really do throw yourself off as soon as you change that routine. That is one of the difficulties for me because I get to change gears on that drive, and so for me it affects me more when I'm coming home. At the end of the day, I finish work on that drive home. my brain gets to change gears. It's like, okay, now you're going home, go play with the kids, go eat dinner. And I have, 25, 30 minutes of changing gears, and that process that helps my mind change gears. Now I walk downstairs, and that takes less than a minute. That takes 30 seconds, and so my brain doesn't change gears quite as well, and I get in and still in a little bit of a work mode, which is a little bit more serious and intense maybe than daddy mode. So that's one of the things that I found difficult.
I agree. Um, the other thing about that is work is always here. So, and I actually did for our business networking international group. I went ahead and did the educational spot yesterday, and it was similar to this, but it was productivity tips when you're at the house. So it was like from Forbes, and it was just 9 ways to help you stay productive. And you can get in trouble with having work always at the fingertips, always in the next room, because and that's what I've noticed with myself is I'll come in to the office and start get lost in work again. It's 7 o'clock at night, and then I come in here and I sit down, I check my emails,
Right.
start working, and it's just like it's hard to turn it off. Like you said, it's there's not as big a distinction from, okay, I'm not at work anymore. So that's one of the things it talked about was creating a workspace where you only work. That's all you do at this area is you stick to work. There's nothing. You don't mix the two because your brain will create that mental block between the two.
Right.
Yeah, that was one of the points we brought up yesterday. And we actually have some. I mean, do you want to go over some technical side of things? Go bring
Yeah,
up that.
let's go over the cybersecurity tips from our friends over at Node.
So yeah, this is just a great little, it makes some great points on the technology side of things. Since you're not using the same equipment as your work environment, there are going to be security flaws in a lot of these areas. So, some of the things we're going to want to bring up and talk about at this point are just ways to keep yourself safe, keep your business resources safe. And David actually shared that to everybody in the call now, so you guys all have access to that whenever you'd like. This one, even when you're at the office, not at the office, you got to use strong passwords. We recommend a password manager. There's a lot of good ones on the markets right now. We're using one that's called MyKey. Works great for us, works great for our clients. This eliminates the having to remember everything. So many people are like, I got to create a new password. Now I got to remember it. I got to make it easy because I have to remember it. Kind of defeats the purpose of a password if you're making them all super easy to guess. So you want to use your password manager that eliminates all that. You can set up two-factor authentication. We use this a lot. So if I'm going to go ahead and get into my email account from my phone, or maybe a new resource, maybe from my laptop, I'll have to put in a code that is sent to my phone that's very unique. It might only last like 60 seconds. And in order for me to get access to my email, I have to put this code in. So that's on top of your password. This is so they say two-factor. It gives you 2 strong authentication means that you have to pass before you can get in. A VPN. Actually, David, he's been working on some new VPN things. David, did you want to talk on this one?
Yeah, we have worked out a deal with a company that provides business class VPN here recently. It's a company called Privatize. So there are a lot of VPN services out there, and this is one that you have to be careful with. So a VPN that opens up a private tunnel for your communication. It basically means that that people that try to get in between your communication and the internet or whatever it is that you're talking to, they're not going to be able to read the information that you're sending back and forth. It creates a virtual private network. And so what a lot of people do, they go out, there's NordVPN. There are several good VPN services out there for the consumer. And so businesses tend to adopt this because they've heard about it before. The problem that businesses have, though, is that they don't have the ability to, number one, manage it for all of their employees. So NordVPN, that's something everybody goes and gets their own. Well, now everybody is out there doing their own thing. And as a business owner with sensitive data, that's a little bit scary because are they really turning it on? Did they configure it correctly? What if they do something wrong? Do I have an audit trail that's required in many of the regulatory environments? So we have a deal now with Privatize that we are able to provide VPN services that work for the business level. It's something, there's one pane for administration where you can administer all of the users of that VPN, and it logs their activity. And that way, if you ever get questioned on anything, whether it be legal or regulatory, you can go back and get the information that's necessary.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great option. But like you said, you really, as a business owner, you want to still have some control of what's going on. The audit feature sounds great because you're going to need that anyways. The requirements and restrictions are getting tighter and tighter with cybersecurity and how you use it. So the audit feature sounds great. Let's see, number 4. Set up a firewall. Now, a firewall acts as a line of defense to prevent threats from entering the system and data from going back out of the system. So this is typically a piece of equipment that goes in between what we call the outside internet and everything that's coming into your house or coming into the office. It's a great thing. All of our clients, when they sign up with us, we provide them with a firewall with the most up-to-date security features that we can to keep them safe. You want to use an antivirus software. A lot of people are familiar with this. They, kind of, there's a lot of options out there that have been around for a long time, like Norton antivirus. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of. They provide adequate security, but there's definitely better ones out on the market right now. We're using one called SentinelOne, and a lot of the tech security world is using SentinelOne on all of their devices because it does a phenomenal job of catching threats, labeling viruses. Human error is noted as the #1 cause of any infection or any data leak. So those still happen, but when it does happen, SentinelOne does a great job of flagging it, pinging it, shutting it down before it gets anywhere. That can do some real damage. And you know what, David, I'm going to let you take a couple because I've been talking an awful lot. So
All right.
let's get you involved.
Yeah, the secure your home router. This is an interesting one because the routers that you put in at home, the D-Link routers or whatever they may be that you buy at Best Buy, and functionally they're very good. They're also highly targeted. Number one, they may use some default passwords, and you don't change them because you're at home. You're just looking to set things up quickly, and so a lot of people leave their home router wide open. The other thing, it's not mentioned here, but you need to update the firmware on your home router as well, because there are vulnerabilities out there that are built into the system that hackers have learned how to manipulate, and so the makers of the router, they'll release a patch, but they don't necessarily update automatically. So you have to go in and manually do that. And that goes along with installing updates regularly. Generally, people think of updates as what they need to update on their home computer or on their work computer, but it really goes for all of the equipment that you use. You need to update your software. Zoom is producing updates. They have 5.0 that just came out here recently, because they've been getting blasted. That the guy that I talked to at Jump Cloud, the reason they're on Google Hangouts right now is because of the number of Zoom vulnerabilities that have come up. They used to use Zoom, but
Yeah.
now they're a little bit nervous that Zoom's getting all the attention, good or bad, and so they've moved to Google Hangouts. But so keep everything updated. Look out for phishing emails and scams. We've got a case that we're working right now of some phishing emails that are coming through. When you're working from home, I guess it's kind of normal for people to feel a little bit more relaxed, a little bit
Yes.
more open, because they're at home. They make themselves a little bit more vulnerable just in their psyche, and so you tend to open yourself up there. Encrypted
Oh
communications.
yeah, and actually, real quick on that
Yeah.
phishing email note, please go to our YouTube page, Strix LA YouTube page, because we do have a great Chill with Jim session on how to spot a phishing email. Um, and we had some great examples, but this is some of the best customer participation that we had. So
Yeah, that
please
was
go and
good.
check that out, and this will help you spot them and make sure that you're not clicking on the wrong thing.
Right. Encrypted communications. This one gets a bit more technical. So a VPN is part of this. A VPN will encrypt kind of all of your communications, but there are certain apps that you may use. A company that's using maybe Facebook Messenger because it was what was immediately available to them. What they may not realize, or even iMessage from Apple, what they may not realize is that communication going back and forth, it's not encrypted. That means that the data doesn't basically get scrambled on its way back and forth so that other people can't read it. If someone figures out a way to step in between, they call it a man in the middle attack. If someone can step in the middle and capture that traffic going back and forth, a lot of times that is clear text and they can read everything you're saying. You might be exchanging a password, any kind of sensitive information about a client, yourself, and you don't want to open your business up to that. So as a business, you want to make sure that you're using encrypted communication. WhatsApp is one of those that's encrypted. Teams is encrypted. You want to make sure you use those business class messaging applications. And then finally, locking your device. And this is, a lot of people, if you're working from home, maybe no one else is going to get on your machine. But when you have the ability to work from home and when we're not in the middle of a quarantine, people will go to a coffee shop, or some other place to get out of the house, to get in a different environment. And they'll go there and they work, and they'll stand up. I can't tell you how many times I've seen this. um, they'll step away from their computer and they'll just leave it there, and it's
Mm-hmm.
open. Well, someone can jump on your machine. This actually happened to me, or I saw it while I was in Arizona one time at a hotel. I was sitting out, enjoying the sunrise coming up, and this other guy sitting there. He gets up. I don't know what he went to do. He set his computer there, and he just left. He was gone maybe 30 minutes. I, I could have had complete control if I was that kind of person. I could have had complete control of his computer. I could have had everything on his machine, because he didn't lock it. He just left it sitting there. He didn't lock it. He didn't close it. He didn't take it with him. That's even better, to take it with you. Um, and people, when he came back, I actually struck up a conversation with him, and he wasn't concerned because he said, "Oh, if people want all of my data, they can have it." That's not necessarily the point. Number one, they may be taking all of your clients' data, and do your clients want some stranger to have their data? Number two, they can take control of your machine and they can use it to perpetrate other attacks. Most of the attacks that we see where someone is trying to log into someone else's email, that's coming from someone else's computer. They're not doing it on their own computer. That would be dangerous for the hacker. They don't want to get caught. They take control of someone else's computer and then they do the hacking. So always lock your device, keep it secure. Physically secure is even more important than just software secure. So.
Yeah, yeah, and even from the house, and we've had a few clients that it's never on purpose, but if you leave your computer up and you don't lock it, the kid comes by, wants to play a game, starts editing maybe the document you had up, accidentally deletes something, downloads a game that probably is not supposed to be on your work computer. The other thing is recently having a cat walk across it and typing all kind of random digits and changing your settings, and now you don't recognize your computer and it takes you 10-15 minutes to reconfigure everything because why is the screen huge? Where'd all my desktop icons go? My screen is now broken. Well, that's because you let your cat walk all over your tablet without locking it. I mean,
that's a true story.
That's a true story, yeah. So, I mean, and even if you lock it, yeah, it could probably still damage it. The cat's still going to walk on it. But with it just wide open like that, it creates the key combinations, and she couldn't even recognize her computer afterwards, and the screen was broke a little bit. So, just a good reminder, even when you're at the house, if you have a roommate, you never know what the roommate, he might not want to look at the websites he wants to look at on his own computer. So why not use yours? We want to be careful at the house as well.
Good stuff.
So yeah, this is somewhat open discussion that got a little technical with some of the aspects we talked about. Did any of you have any questions, comments?
I don't have any questions because I get the joy of hearing this tech talk every evening. So, I have my fill for the day.
Okay.
No, I don't have any questions.
Have
Jim,
you noticed? Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just wondering if either of you guys have you ladies have any funny stories when it comes to some of the things we talked about. Maybe some office banter that you just really would have loved to turn off. I know there's been so many times I've talked to people, this isn't work related necessarily, but to like our clients, but where someone wears a perfume or a cologne that they cannot stand, like it almost makes them sick. And then you're sitting next to this person and you're just stuck every day, 8 hours a day. You had to sit next to that smell.
Oh, I had a woman when I did work my full-time job, Christmas time, she used to wear this sweater that had bells on it. So every time she would walk around the office, you'd hear these bells ringing.
That's a fun one. I think I could totally dig that. I'm Christmas
that would be you.
obsessed. I would be like, I'd be humming to the bells. One of our, David and I's best friends works in an office setting, and she has this person next to her that chews ice constantly, and she makes posts about it on Facebook every now and then. One day he's chewing like peppermints, the next day it's ice, and she's sitting in her cubicle and she's like, my teeth are hurting. I can't. I need to go home. I can't.
That one rings a bell because you got the husband that
David,
loves to
yes,
chew on his ice.
Yes.
Golly. And I just was taught my whole life that is so bad for your teeth.
I was too.
He says,
I was too.
There's someone we know that says that it's healthy. They're like, I'm getting all the gunk out of my teeth. Is that you? That's one of your trying to make yourself feel better.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true, but that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Because when the girls do it, he's like, no.
That's funny. Well, I appreciate everybody coming out. If we don't have any more questions, we'll kind of start wrapping it up. It's been a great chill with Jim session.
Go ahead
And
and put the link for next week so everyone can register.
yeah, and
Absolutely.
David's got the topic for next week, which is
Yeah, it's we're going to be covering the password manager and buying and selling of passwords on the dark web. So we talk a lot about password managers. The question is, why are they important? It's still difficult pretty often to get people to appreciate that it's actually important to have a password manager. So we're going to talk about the dark web a little bit. The dark web is where people go to buy and sell those passwords that get stolen, and we'll talk a little bit just what makes what allows that to happen. How do they do it back and forth, and how do you protect yourself? So we'll go over that, and let me see if we can get the. We're doing next week as a webinar, so I'm looking actually for the link here. Just a second.
yeah, yeah, that'll be a good one. We've had a lot of interest lately. I know Wendy.
I have
Couple-
it here, David.
Oh, you
Okay.
do? Drop it in the chat for us.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, be sure to go ahead and check out our YouTube page. You know, if there's anything you've missed from one of these discussions, you can always go back and listen through. If you want to hear what your voice sounds like, it drives me nuts every time. Like,
Wendy
gosh,
is like a huge supporter. Does this make number 4 or number
Carlene?
3? Yeah. Sorry, Carlene.
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah.
Wendy's
Wendy
a
is
huge
messaging
supporter.
me as I'm speaking. That's why I said Wendy.
She registers for all of them. She just ends up not being able to make it.
Yeah. So there's the link for everyone, and yeah, feel free to reach out to us at any time. Please check out the YouTube page. Please help us with spreading the word about this on our Facebook, on our LinkedIn. Hit some likes, hit some shares for us, and we appreciate you being here and all the support you've given.
Cool. Thank you.
Bye,
Very good.
everyone.
See you
Thank
next
you.
week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Adios.